Hey folks, today we are going to cook what the recipe calls Italian bean soup. I've got to tell you, I have no idea why it's called Italian bean soup, because the only thing Italian in this is the pasta. Everything else, here's a look at our ingredients, everything else clearly fits into other categories. Our onions, celery, and carrot, that's the classic mirepoix in French cooking. And then onions, celery, and bell pepper, that is the holy trinity in Cajun cooking. And then garlic, which is almost always added right after the holy trinity in so many dishes. So I don't know why the recipe says Italian anything. All I can tell you is it's absolutely delicious. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is not the best looking celery in the world, but it's what I had on hand. It's still good. So let's just do a rough chop on that. Next, we're just going to dissect our bell pepper. And then we'll just take the core of it, put that aside. Chop out the veins. There's no real good way to do this. You can break them out with your hands, use a paring knife. If somebody knows a good way to get rid of those veins in a bell pepper, please share. Next, we're just going to take these and dice them up. You can cut them this way, or you can just put them on an end and slice them vertically. It actually slices a lot easier that way. Either way you do it, we're making just little dices about a quarter inch by quarter inch. Nothing complicated here. And if you're new to cooking, please note how my left knuckles or left fingertips are curled back so the blade kind of glides against my knuckles, and that prevents me from ever having the opportunity to slice off my fingertip. And of course, always use a sharp knife. You're actually much more likely to cut yourself with a dull knife than a sharp knife because you put more pressure. Now check out these amazing knife skills with the onion. First, we slice the ends off, then one slice down the middle. Get rid of the top one or two layers. Nothing real complicated here. There's multiple ways of chopping an onion, but this is my way. It works. So if it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. There we go. We got all the, I don't know what we call that. The shell, the paper, the exterior. It's kind of not exactly a pill. I don't know. If anybody knows what you call that paper exterior of an onion, let us know in the description. I like to slice these lengthwise. If you slice those very thin and leave them, that's called a julienne cut. And then I just turn them around and slice it, and that gives us some really nice diced onions. Not the only way to do this, but it works. Now, doesn't that look nice? Onions, celery, and bell pepper all together. And that is the classic holy trinity of Cajun cooking. When these three ingredients cook together, it makes such a wonderful aroma that if you've not tried a recipe with these three ingredients, I encourage you to, because it's pretty wonderful, pretty easy. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get our sausage out. I guess you could use pretty much any type of sausage that you want, but these little links, they actually did very, very well. So just going to cut those into about 1/2-inch chunks. And we're going to leave the casing on. And you'll see a little bit later, but it just kind of cracks me up how with the casing on, the ends of them will cook and just sort of puff out. You'll see what I'm talking about after they've cooked a little bit. Next, in our heavy-duty cast iron skillet, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil, put that over medium-high heat, throw our sausage in, and just brown those. You know, this is going to take, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes, depending on how hot you have your stove. And when those are done, go ahead and scoop them up and set them aside. Don't worry, we're going to put them back in a little later. Now, if you're serious about this dish, this would be a good time to add either some chicken broth or some white wine to deglaze your pan. All those little crispy bits in the bottom, it just makes a complex, deep flavor that's just wonderful. But next we're going to add our vegetation, and it does not quite as good as white wine or chicken broth, but it will sort of deglaze the pan a little bit, and you get, I don't know, at least 90% of the good stuff off. Nothing complicated here, just using my board scraper, scoop up everything, throw it in. Not real complicated here. This is very simple, but the aroma is absolutely incredible. So the original recipe called for a frozen bag of onions, bell pepper, and celery, and just no, get the fresh stuff. The bag stuff, just, I've never been able to make it work in something like this. So get the fresh stuff. It's well worth the extra $1 or $2. So go ahead and add in a heavy pinch of salt and some pepper there. And notice how it is sort of deglazing the pan. Again, not as good. It wouldn't hurt you to throw in some white wine, but whatever. It's going to be delicious. Now throw in some carrots. I had some of these diced carrots on hand, and just throw those in. If you had crinkle cut, that would be fine, or if you had regular full carrots, you just want to dice those up really fine. Next, going to add a couple of cloves of garlic. You can slice up your garlic. I can never get it fine enough. I'm sure somebody with amazing knife skills can, but I like using a garlic press because it crushes the garlic and all those wonderful oils come out, and you just get a lot more flavor, I think, than you do of just tossing in finely chopped garlic. Folks, I wished you could smell this. It smells absolutely incredible. Some of the liquid of the veggies have rendered out, and it's awesome. Next, we're going to put in a can of Great Northern white beans, and 2 cans of those with the juices. And then we're going to throw in a can of green beans. Those needed to be drained. Give that a good stir, and we're starting to make sense here. There goes 2 cups of marinara sauce. Just throw it all in. Why not? The aroma from this dish is pretty awesome. I wish you guys, I hope you guys try it so you can see for yourself. Now we're going to throw in some chicken broth. I don't know, probably about 3 cups or whatever's left in the box. 2 cups, 3 cups, whatever. This is the joy of cooking. You don't have to measure everything, just whatever feels right at the moment. And we're going to throw back our sausage, or throw our sausage back in there, excuse me. Next, we're going to add our Italian seasoning. Maybe that's the why the recipe calls this Italian. That and the pasta is the only thing that screams Italian to me, which, whatever you call it, this stuff is absolutely delicious. That was 1 tablespoon, by the way. Now, let that simmer for, I don't know, about 20, 25 minutes, whatever. Just let all the flavors, maybe even 30 or 35 minutes, let the flavors all meld together, and it'll create a little bit more complex. Now I'm adding in tablespoons of Zatarain's blackening season. Stuff is absolutely incredible. I encourage you to try it. And the original recipe calls for 1 cup of pasta, so I added 2. Yeah, maybe 3 sounds good. And let's just go ahead and add the whole box. If I cook this dish again, I would probably add 2 cups. The 4 cups or so I put in was just a little too much pasta. It was still absolutely awesome, but a little less pasta would have been better. Now let that cook for about 10 minutes, and that will let the pasta cook. Now we get to serve, and I thank you for watching, and please be sure to like the video and subscribe.